You've just been in a car accident here in Maryland. Your heart's racing, cars are pulling over, and you're trying to figure out what to do next. Maybe you're wondering, do I really need a lawyer for this, or should I just handle it myself? I guess the truth is, not every accident calls for one, but there are situations where skipping that call can cost you thousands and sometimes your entire right to recover. In this video, we'll break down exactly how to tell the difference when I guess it's safe to handle it on your own and when you need a Maryland car accident lawyer on your side. You don't want to miss out on appropriate recovery, protection, or peace of mind when it matters most. So in almost every situation, I would argue to you that calling a lawyer is an important step in the process. Hi, I'm attorney Bobby Zirkin. I've been a lawyer for almost 30 years, and let's get right to it. How do you know if you really need a lawyer after a car accident? Think about the minutes right after a crash. You're shaken off, adrenaline is pumping, maybe a little sore. You're swapping insurance information, maybe calling the police. At that moment, it can be hard to think straight, let alone figure out if you need a lawyer or who to call. To help you decide, I'll walk you through the main signals that it's time to pick up the phone and talk to a Maryland attorney about your car accident. Your injuries are more than just soreness. The most important reason you might need a lawyer is you are injured. Here in Maryland, if you've been hurt, even if it seems minor at first, you could be facing doctor's appointments, physical therapy, or time off work. Sometimes what starts off as a little neck pain turns into a much bigger problem later on. Picture this, a client of mine, we'll just call her Lisa, was rear-ended at a stoplight in Baltimore. At first, she thought she was fine. She felt stiff, but figured she'd just shake it off. A couple of days later, she woke up barely able to turn her head. She ended up needing months of chiropractic care and missed several weeks of work. The insurance adjuster tried to tell Lisa her injuries weren't serious. They offered her a settlement that wouldn't even pay for her first few doctor's visits. She reached out for help, and we were able to secure a settlement that actually covered all of her medical bills, lost wages, and significantly more. Maryland law says you have the right to recover money for your injuries, but insurance companies are trained to minimize what they pay you. If you're more than just sore, if you're feeling real pain, if you see a doctor, or if you're missing work, don't go at this thing alone. Give a lawyer a call as soon as you can and make sure that you're not fighting with these adjusters by yourself. They are professionals. There's a disagreement over who was at fault. Let's talk about blame or liability in a case. Maryland uses what's called contributory negligence. It's one of the strictest rules in the entire country. Here's what it means. If you're found even a fraction at fault for the accident, just 1%, you can't recover a single dollar from the other driver. Let's say you get hit in an intersection, but the other driver claims you didn't have your turn signal on. Or maybe you braked suddenly and they say you caused the crash. It doesn't matter if they were texting or if they were speeding. If the insurance company or court decides that you shared any of the blame, you could be out of luck in your case. This is why having a Maryland car accident lawyer can make all the difference. We see all the ways insurance companies try to blame injured people for their accidents. Sometimes they twist your words, or they twist the words of witnesses to back up their version. If there's any disagreement over who is at fault, even if it seems silly or unfair, please talk to a lawyer right away. We know how to gather the right evidence, interview witnesses, and keep the blame where it belongs. The insurance company is lowballing or denying your claim. Here's a situation I see all the time. The other driver's insurance company calls you, sounds very sympathetic, and offers you a check. They say it's fair and final. It might even sound like a lot of money, especially if you're out of work or facing big medical bills. But here's the truth. Insurance companies are businesses. Their job is to pay you as little as possible. They hope you'll take the first offer. They hope you will sign a release, and they hope that you'll go away before you know what your injury is actually worth. I remember helping a man in Anne Arundel County who was sideswiped on Route 50. The insurance company offered them $5,000 the day after his accident. Seemed like a lot of money. But when he tallied up his lost income and the future care he'd need, it was clear the offer wouldn't even scratch the surface. After we stepped in, we were able to negotiate a settlement nearly 10 times higher than what he had originally been offered. Maryland law gives you the right to full compensation if you're not at fault. That means medical expenses, future treatment, lost wages, pain and suffering, and sometimes more. If you're getting low offers or your claim is denied, don't accept it. A lawyer can review your case for free and tell you what it's really worth. Talking to insurance companies is a really bad idea at any step in this process. There are multiple people involved or serious property damage. If your accident involved more than two vehicles, pedestrians, bicyclists, or a pileup, things get complicated fast. Suddenly, you have multiple insurance companies involved. Everyone is pointing fingers at each other, and no one wants to take responsibility. There's also a risk of being blamed under Maryland's tough contributory negligence law. Imagine a chain reaction crash in rush hour traffic. Who caused it? Who pays? These cases are notorious for getting dragged out and underpaid. Or let's say your car is totaled and you're facing thousands in repairs. The insurance adjusters might argue over the value of your car, claim it's not worth fixing. In situations with lots of people or lots of damage, having an attorney helps to keep things organized and protects your interests and your rights. We will handle the calls, the paperwork, and all back and forth so you don't have to fight these claims alone. The other driver is uninsured or underinsured. Here's another big red flag. The other driver doesn't have insurance or doesn't have very much of it. Maryland law requires drivers to have insurance, but not everyone follows the rules. And even if they do, their policy limits might be too low to cover your bills, especially if your injuries are severe. If you're hit by someone without enough coverage, you have to turn to your own policy's uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. This can get tricky because even your own insurance company might not be eager to pay. A lawyer can help you figure out what coverage applies and push your insurance company to do the right thing. Without help, you might end up settling for less, just because you don't know what you're entitled to under your own policy. You're facing long-term or permanent injuries. Not every injury heals in a few weeks or months. Some car accidents leave people with lasting problems, chronic pain, limited mobility, or even permanent disability. Maybe you can't go back to your old job or you need significant help even at your home. The cost of long-term care in Maryland is enormous. If you don't think about the future when you settle with the insurance company, you could be left holding the bag for expenses that pop up years later. A good car accident attorney works with doctors and with other experts to figure out what your injury will mean for the rest of your life. We can fight for compensation that takes care of you, not just today, but into the future. You're running up against deadlines. Finally, timing matters a lot. In Maryland, you generally have 3 years from the date of your accident to file a lawsuit. Miss that deadline and you lose your right to recover no matter how strong your case is. But there are exceptions. For example, if a government vehicle was involved, say an MTA bus or a county police car, you have timelines that are even shorter. And there are certain things that you have to do that you don't have to do with a private automobile car accident case. A lawyer can help make sure you don't miss any critical deadlines, regardless of who the defendant is. We will also handle all the paperwork, filings, so that you don't have to worry about anything other than getting better. What if I'm not sure? Get free advice before you decide. Let's say you're on the fence about getting an attorney. Maybe the accident was minor, or maybe you're worried about the cost of hiring a lawyer. Here's my advice on that. Just call and ask. Most personal injury attorneys in Maryland, including my firm, offer free consultations. We'll listen to what happened, answer all your questions, and help you figure out if you need an attorney and how to get started and what are the best practices. There's no pressure and no commitment. If it turns out you can handle your claim yourself, we'll tell you that, although that doesn't happen that often. If you do need help, we can talk through next steps and what it will cost. Often you pay nothing unless we win money for you. So, how do you know if you need a lawyer after a car accident in Maryland? If you're injured, if there's a fight over who to blame, if the insurance company is giving you a hard time, if there are multiple people involved in serious damages, if the other driver's uninsured or underinsured, if you're facing lasting injuries, don't take chances. A call to an experienced attorney can protect your health, your money, your future, and your rights. If you found this helpful, you will need to watch our next video, Understanding Maryland's Strict Liability Law as it relates to dog bites. It's a little different than what we just talked about. It's a must-see if you want to know your rights and avoid getting stuck with bills that aren't yours. Click over now, protect yourself, protect your family. See you right there.